And the idea was to really, because we were told that we had to reflect the Washington presence in, columns and capitals and things like that. And so we took those items and sort of jumbled them and threw them out. But at the same time, we learned a lot from that. I certainly did. That the space, which really wasn't that large, suddenly became very large, simply because we were using the three orders from miniature to gargantuan of the building, of the classical style. And suddenly something, a distance or that seemed to be maybe only 20 feet, because there were a number of interruptions of that. And it really looked as if it was 40 feet. And of course, I combined that with my experience in Japan and also in my own garden in giving you the illusion of great space by just how you adjust things and use reflection and
but that's how you get this great open sense of a huge open space within.
Yeah.
And enchanting in the way that it also steps back as it moves,
and
layers, increases the light as it falls in.
Yeah.
It was an uncomfortable building for many of us when it first appeared, as Arthur gone postmodern.
Yes.
Was a question.
Which I hadn't.
It's an ensemble.
I've gone super modern.
Where it's sort of the repeated form, the feeling of the repeated form that always used to organize the work. And I think amazingly, we weren't ready for it.
No.
It has a sort of sense of shibui about it, which is this sort of wonderful Japanese idea that something might be uncomfortable when you first see it, and even the second or the third times, but its familiarity, it starts to read right. And that building is starting to read right, and the people who are reading it right the most are the young skateboard communities. And I think it's a wonderful Canadian emblem, and it's certainly what the building intends to do, that it has no great hierarchy of space. It actually opens to the world, and you come in, and it's the only embassy in the world, certainly the only building on Pennsylvania Avenue, in which, poor kids are out skating. And to me, if you wanted to represent an ideal Canada sense of what Canada should be or hope to be or aspire to be, that would be it.
Yeah, I think so too. Because also it's very embracing, and that was the one instruction we were given by the Department of Foreign Affairs, was that they wanted something that was welcoming. And so we borrowed symbols such as the neoclassical New Orleans type of grand porch for the building. And it's certainly a complete fabrication, but with an ulterior motive.
No, the ulterior is starting to see quite plainly now, particularly when you walk in and you penetrate, and here you come to a very serious philosophical program, that what North America is about is the native people and the minerals and the earth and the layers of earth and water and minerals that are beneath us, and that's the real Canadian message. You don't have to actually penetrate to reach that. It becomes very evident indeed with that sort of black center.
Well, because we also had to have an artwork, which would be, in a sense, copying the humanism of the original classical buildings. But we decided that it should go to Bill Reed, and that he should be fabricating something that was very essential to his native culture. And so it's this nice mix of primeval art with whatever you want to call ours. And it's effective, I think. It has a great presence on Pennsylvania Avenue.
It's beginning to look wonderful, and I know it works because my ex-wife, who I've never agreed with, it's why she's my ex-wife, who lives in Washington and doesn't know architecture, but is an intelligent and perceptive woman, and wrote some of a very naive ones. That's why was in there for a reception recently, and she came back and she said, and she thinks George Bush is too liberal, so she is. She's not doesn't deliver a critique of American society very often. But she said, I was up there and we were up in the ambassador's suite and looking out and looking and coming back down, and she said, I never realized what a grotesquely imperial city Washington was until I was in this building, which shows that grotesqueness as a sort of splendor. And I think that is what, I think you do sort of pay homage to it, and yet undermine it. It's a remarkable work, and one that, quite frankly, I didn't like. It didn't want the exhibition, remember? We made it fight. And I've grown to love it for its ambivalence. And that's what it's expressing towards the United States, is the Canadian ambivalence towards Japan. At which point, could we show 2 minutes of the Osaka film, and then I want everyone to speak to you. I think we won't be in the way.